A lot of your posts speak about mental health and depression. How do you deal with it?
I'm living rough and raw, catching cases at a fast rate, rolling in the fast lane, hustle till the morning, never stop until the cash came.
Yo, what's going on, people? So, GT here. As you may have seen on my Insta story and Instagram, I said I was just going to answer like any questions you guys fire through to me. I don't know what's out there, so I've just been pulling a few in off my DMs and my story and things at the moment. So I'm going to go through a few stuff and I guess inform you guys on whatever you want to know. Hopefully nothing dodgy comes up, but we'll see. Okay, so first question. What is your next competition? Well, obviously, as you know, I took a bit of time away from the sport just this year, but the last competition I did was an NPC competition in classic physique. I'm the sort of guy that just needs constant sort of challenges, really. So as far as I'm concerned, there's only one thing or one sort of place for me to go from here, considering I've done muscle model pro in a couple of different federations already, and that is to chase my classic physique pro card. So, you know, I've got that classic shape. I'm fortunate enough to have narrow waist and sort of broad shoulders. So my next competition, I guess, is going to be Amateur Olympia next year. So I'm going to Vegas. I believe that'll be early September. So I've got a bit of space to grow in the meantime. I'm actually quite close to my weight cap already, so I've got to just add about 2 or 3 kilos, I guess, and then make sure I come in like a lot leaner than I did last time and drier, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so there you have it. I'm not competing until September next year, and it's going to be in an NPC Pro League level competition, or hopefully Pro League eventually, but we'll see. Number 2. When did you start training and how long did it take for you to look like this? That's a tough one. It's kind of like how long's a piece of string sort of thing. I mean, I guess for those of you that don't know, like I used to be a junior track athlete. I was a sprinter, actually a sprint hurdler for those of you that didn't know that. And I did that through, you know, my teens. I actually started at an age of about 11. And I guess I grew into the physique that was required for that. I mean, sprinters already have a fairly solid, you know, body. So, you know, and with that, I guess I was doing circuit sessions and things like that. So it's hard to say when I started training because I've always trained, basically. That's not to say you can't, you know, get to where I am by starting, you know, that sort of thing. It can be done. But for me, it's been a slow burn. It's been a lifestyle. It's basically been something that I've always done. I guess, you know, for someone that wanted to sort of get to where I'm at, you know, probably 8 or 9 years of hard work will get you there. But yeah, look, I mean, I guess I started in, 1990 or something like that. We're going to get pedantic about it, but yeah. Okay, how do you keep your waist small? Yeah, well, look, I'm lucky. I guess I'm an ectomorphic body type, so I'm naturally slender. If you guys saw pictures of me when I was, you know, 16, 15, fucking shit a brick. Like, you would not believe. I mean, I look back and sort of go, wow, like, did I really get about looking like that? But I did. I've always had a skinny waist. This being said, it's very easy, you know, the likes of CrossFit and all that kind of stuff, to blow a waist out. I've managed to avoid that, probably because of the way that I train. Also, a slight blessing in disguise, if you like. It's not really a blessing, but when I was 17, I was sort of playing rugby. We had a pretty hectic school team. I was a flanker, and we played all the most prestigious boys' private schools, so it was pretty hectic. Rugby tour, you know, that year we did 15 games. Actually won about 13 of them, which was pretty good. But I remember tackling this big lock when I was 17. And I didn't get my head to the side, and it went and just compressed my spine. I could tell something wasn't right. Like, I didn't get stretchered off or anything, but I was not in good shape. And yeah, look, as a result of that, it put a vertebrae kind of just slightly off center, and it's been like that ever since, because quite frankly, I just don't like the idea of having my lumbar spine fused. I guess I've got a slightly herniated disc because of that. So that basically has stopped me from back squatting, Olympic lifting, all that kind of stuff, which a lot of guys swear by to add mass. I would like to contradict that, because I've managed to add mass by doing, you know, non-compound movements. So, you know, I guess I've steered clear of the classical mass building exercises like deadlifts. You know, I do rack pulls because I can do those, but deadlifts, heavy back squats, all that kind of stuff, I don't do that. I do some squats, but I do lower weight squats to really work on that you know, that mind muscle connection, you know, more of a pause in the hole, that kind of stuff. But I guess I just avoid things that go through my lower back, which would technically help blow the waist out. So, you know, there is that. And you know, the way that I train, I try and create the shape that I want. So I'll put a lot of emphasis on lats, a lot of emphasis on quads, but it just won't be through the middle, which will support my back and would technically grow, you know, in my obliques and stuff, which would thicken my waist out. So you just got to think about it as a long-term goal, and how you're going to work through all that stuff to get in shape. A lot of people just don't want long-term. They want short-term goals. They want mass real soon, so they're just going to go blast all those things, and as a result, they tend to forfeit their waist. So it's quite important that you don't do that. Well, from my perspective, it is anyway. Next question is, in one of your last videos, you mentioned your mum passing. What happened there? So, yeah, you know, it's not an easy thing to talk about. It's not a fun thing to talk about, but I did say, so I will elaborate, I suppose. Yeah, look, Mum she was young, you know, she was 55. I mean, I'm 40 now. Like, it's not far away, really, from where I'm at now, which is quite scary, because I've got a, you know, daughter of my own. But, look, Mum, she was fit, you know, walking around one day, well, fit, you know, maybe she knew different and didn't tell us all, I don't know. One day she was fine, the next day my dad found her at the bottom of the stairs, you know, she'd had a stroke and she was unconscious. So, you know, he took her to the hospital, and, you know, he called me, and I was unfortunately all the way over here in Australia. He's like, you know, you probably need to come home, and I've had multiple phone calls with my aunties and uncles who were also at the hospital just, you know, in the forthcoming days after that, and they're like, no, it's going to be okay, she'll recover, you know. And then she had, you know, a second stroke just as she was recovering from the first. Literally a few days later, I, you know, got on a plane because I just decided I needed to be there. And unfortunately, you know, as that second stroke happened, like, Mum she was never going to wake up. So that was really quite tough. So I never got to say anything to my mum. I never got to say goodbye. She was, you know, plugged into the machines and things like that. So she never regained consciousness, and I never got to tell her all the things that I probably should have told her. So, you know, let that be a lesson to you. You know, I'm unfortunately a little bit of an introvert, and I don't often say the things I need to say to people around me, but I tell you now, you know, there will be a time, or there may well be a time come, that you cannot say those things anymore. So you take the time when you get it. So, as I said, life is short. You know, 55 years old, double stroke from, you know, no necessary, like, sort of medical background would show that anything was wrong. Okay, well, that was fun. Okay, let's see what else is coming up. Oh, well, this is just going to go from bad to worse. Shit. A lot of your posts speak about mental health and depression. How do you deal with it? Well, yeah, my mum died. It's not much fun. No, look, at the end of the day, for me, you know, that was pushing 10 years ago now, and, you know, as we all know, life has a habit of tag teaming a whole bunch of shit at the same time or shortly after each other, and really catching you off your guard, and it can do it to the best of us. And, you know, it happened to me, you know, for a period there where it was awful. Anything that could go wrong, there were some major things going wrong in my life, and yes, as a result of that, it does take its toll on your mental health. I talk about it regularly. I often get not teased, pulled up on the fact that I do talk about it, not trying to spread, you know, depression or anything like that. I just think, you know, it's really fucking important that people talk about that kind of thing and get out in the open, because particularly for guys, I'm not saying girls, you know, women, you also have your issues with depression and mental health, but for guys, it's just, especially in a place like Australia, I mean, shit, it's just traditional. Men are the strong guys. They just go out, they work, they shut up, they do their hours, they come home. No one really asks, you know, about those guys, and they will never say, even if there's anything wrong, that's just the way it is. But there's a massive suicide rate for males, especially over here. You know, and I actually lost my best friend to suicide when he was 18, and nearly a second best friend, you know, 3 or 4 years later, to an attempt at suicide. So it's played a major part in my life as a result of that, and it's just so important that you guys understand that all the stuff that happens to you, you know, when you're going through those periods, and, you know, life gives you highs and lows. That is life. You know, you have to deal with it, and, you know, all you need to know is it happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us, every one of us. So it's important to speak out and to understand that, you know, it's all out there. So look, I mean, how do I deal with it? I mean, I deal with it by going to the gym. They tried to put me on medication. It made me worse. I really didn't like the feel of it at all. And, you know, I sort myself out. You know, sure, I've spoken to a few different people and stuff. And to me, talking about things, yeah, it's good to get it off your chest and get it out there. But, you know, and that does help. But it doesn't solve any of the issues. So I'm more of a doer than a talker. So I just, you know, I get my ass down the gym. And I work out and I get those natural endorphins going and I get outside in the sunshine and, you know, I keep my mind busy, my mind occupied. As soon as you give up and you kind of, you know, just succumb to it all, which is very easily done, that's when things go the wrong way real damn quick. All right. So, you know, that's how I deal with it. And look, going to the gym, chasing dreams, turning that negative energy into something that's constructive. You know, it wasn't planned that I was just going to go chasing competitions and pro cards and shit like that, but it was constructive and it's made me the person I am today. So as much as I can't, you know, I don't really want to have it in my life. It's made me who I am and it's put me where I am right now. So, you know, you can't ever begrudge that. All right, so always talk to people. What is your height, weight, and arm circumference? Okay, so let's lighten the mood slightly. On the old scale, I mean, I'm actually 6'1.5". What's that? 185 centimeters. Weights fluctuates. I mean, it kills me. Trying to get my weight up is just flogging a dead horse. My weight at the moment's 109, so that's 240 pounds. I would love to get up to 112, 113. You know, get it up to 250 pounds. But to be quite frank, I've got a frame like a fucking flamingo. Like I have a tiny joints. Because of my body type as well, like I struggle getting the amount of food in to actually get me past that. But I'm going to try. And my arm circumference, yeah, they're still there. It is touching on 20, so with the 20s. I'd like to get them to 21 inches. We'll see. That's probably a few years of training away yet, but you know, there's constant progression. That's how it's going to come. So, and they will come. All right, next one. Are you married? Nah, I'm not married. I do have a girlfriend. But no, I'm not married. Where are you from? I'm English, proudly English, from Nottingham in the UK. But I do live in Australia because, quite frankly, England sucks ass and doesn't really give you very much back. Australia does. It's a nice sunny day right now. It's actually sunny most of the year where I live, so, you know, at least I can get outside and do stuff. So England is just grey and oppressive. And I'm pretty sure that I'll be hitting that seasonal affective disorder sometime around now. So, yeah, the grey weather's coming in. Sorry, guys, but, you know, not for me. What is your training split? It changes. It changes a lot. When I'm bulking, I tend to keep it really simple. It's just a very simple 3-day cycle. Just a standard push, pull, legs, repeat, rest day. So my pushes tend to be, you know, the chest, delts, things like that together. I might tag in some triceps. Pulls would just be a back day, biceps. And then legs is the full compound leg day. I always start with hamstrings with legs because I've got long legs and long insertions. So getting them to fill out is a heavy fucking task. But, you know, so I always start with that, and then I go to pre-exhaust quads, and then the compound movement. So push-pull legs times by 2, 1 rest day. That changes during prep. I actually add in like a delts day and an arms day, so it tends to just change down slightly. So it's you know, we'll be back, chest and biceps, legs, delts, repeat, rest, something like that. So, you know, it tends to be different all the time. Okay, how do you put on mass and stay lean? Again, as I said earlier, I'm an ectomorphic body type, so my natural metabolism is just constantly firing. You know, I'm eating about 4,000 calories at the moment, which is probably about 1,000 over maintenance. It's quite a bit, but I'm just not putting on. In fact, I'm getting leaner. I'm growing nicely, but I'm getting leaner. So I guess it's luck of the draw. You know, like it is what it is. Fortunately, guys, sorry. I mean, some of us are tall and skinny, and others are short and chunky. So it's just the way it is. But you know, that is obviously, you know, how do I put mass on a saline? I mean, this is just a standard principle of putting your diet over the you know, over your baseline, so that you're in a surplus of even a 300 or 400 calorie a day surplus is enough to grow on. I know, I go over that because I just chew through calories real quick. So, you know, basic science. You know, just Google it or ask a pro or, you know, or a coach, and they'll guide you through it quite simply. It's not rocket science, so anyone can learn it. Okay. You have good shoulders. Thank you very much. How do you get them like this? Okay, shoulders are one of those mysterious muscles. I mean, I actually used to be men's physique competitor, so I made it my just mission to just train delts. I also had kind of short clavicles, as you can probably see here, so training delts became something that I just used to bang constantly to just give that impression of width. Why? Well, basically, look, I mean, with any shoulder session that I do, without trying to give away all my tricks, they will start with rear delts constantly. The way to get those melon-sized round delts is to do a lot of rear delt stuff. A lot of, you know, impressionable youngsters that just want those big delts will just train, you know, the front ones, the lateral ones, because that's what they can see. But at the end of the day, they become very imbalanced, and they do not get that round capped look because they're missing one of the heads. There's basically 1/3 of the muscle that's just not been trained properly. So I always train my rear delts more than the rest, because don't forget the rest are going to be worked antagonistically, you know, when you train your chest as well. So, you know, I bang the rear delts for at least 20 minutes through about 2 or 3 different exercises. Pretty heavy weights too. I mean, I'll pyramid set right the way up. You know, like my rear delt fly at the moment is up to about 85 kilos. It's quite heavy, and I can manage that quite comfortably. So progressive overload, constantly banging heavy weights. Rear delts first. I exhaust the rear delts, and then I'm going to go through and I go into my compound movements, my presses, and then I go from there into my flies, of which they are a mixture of cable and dumbbells. And I'll tell you now, no 2 delt sessions are the same. I like to keep them changing up all the time. But they will always incorporate pyramid sets, like giant sets, anything that will just fuck them up. You know, sometimes up to like 50 or 60 reps in one giant set. Like, you got to keep changing them up constantly, and they'll grow. All right, and they'll grow nice and round if you do it like that. Okay, what's your current diet look like? Do you count macros? I'm bulking at the moment, albeit a lean bulk. So, look, as I said, I need to just constantly get those calories in. It's a struggle to get calories in. So, I do count macros to an extent. I always try and just count the protein, particularly because really that's the useful calories initially. Always try and hit sort of 220, 230 grams of protein a day. I don't really agree with 1.5 kind of grams per pound body weight, that kind of stuff. It's a lot, and it's going to put a lot of strain on your liver. You have a lot of aminos in your piss, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's enough. And then the rest is just going to be padded out with healthy carbs, you know, a lot of rice, a lot of sweet potato. My diet at the moment is probably only about 70%, 75% clean. The rest I will just bang in, you know, like pre-workout muffins, a lot of carrot cake, all that kind of stuff, because I just love my baked goods, and they are good to just keep your body fueled, really, for those important workouts and stuff. Also, drink a lot of calories. You know, if I can make one of those shakes a day, that's almost 1,000 calories of useful calories added into that total, which is, you know, it's always going to help. So, you know, a shake would be like 50 grams of protein, 500 mils of either almond, coconut, or sometimes whole milk if I really want the calories in there. A lot of almond butter, a lot of almond paste, you know, things like that. So a banana or 2 all together. So it's got everything in there. So, you know, that's giving it a good kickstart. If I bang one of those every morning, that's a little trick, because a lot of the time guys can't actually physically get the food in. They feel bloated and things like that. So if you turn it into a liquid diet partially, you can get them in there a little bit easier, and, you know, you don't get that bloating, and you get ahead with your calorie kind of target for the day. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Yes, I do. Only one. I've got one brother. I don't talk about him that much. No, joking, he's all right. I miss my brother a lot, actually. I've got one brother, he's a year and a half younger than me, so he's going to be actually rapidly approaching his 40th birthday. My brother's, yeah, I'm very proud of him, actually. You know, he's back in the UK. A lot of people in Australia wouldn't really have heard of him, but he's like an ex, just retired recently, an ex-Olympic athlete. He's the same as me, funnily enough. I was a sprint hurdler as a kid, and this little cunt comes along and copies me, and then breaks pretty much all of my records going forward. So, thanks for that little shit. But he didn't get all of them, so we've still got a few school records that have been, you know, they're about 30 years on. So they'll be very hard to beat. But look, he's been to 3 Olympics as an international 110 hurdler. He's won the European champs. He's won the Commonwealth Games. Yeah, what can I say? We've got good genetics. But yeah, like I don't see him as much as I probably should, and I miss him quite a bit. But you know, we try and catch up and talk as regularly as possible. But yeah, Andy Turner, my brother's name. We grew up together. We actually hated each other as kids, and then, you know, it's funny, you just kind of mature and grow up and become adults, and just stuff changes. So, you know, we got on great now when we actually do get to catch up. So, okay, last one here. How is it being a teacher and an Instagram fitness personality at the same time? I'm a teacher also and find it difficult. No fucking shit. Well, that's a sore topic to finish on. That's like the last question, and it's just a fucking doozy. I was a teacher for 13 years, teaching science, biology, chemistry, maths quite a bit, and actually got roped into a lot of the PE side of it because obviously I'm a trainer as well, so why not? But yeah, I actually loved teaching the kids. Like, I loved it. And I still just find myself wanting to teach, you know, not just kids, but, you know, adults as well, but anyone that wants to learn and shows the maturity to understand that learning is fucking important to get ahead of, you know, the rest of the crowd. You know, I'll give them all my time. Just the teacher in me. How was it being a teacher and an Instagram fitness guy? Impossible. I was actually forced to resign by a school here on the Gold Coast because of my Instagram, which was disappointing. I lost 2 or 3 contracts because they didn't like the fact that I guess I had stuff going on outside of the school. This is all in private system, so it would be a little bit more one-sided with things like managements and stuff like that. You know, I mean, look, I was a good teacher. I mean, not just blowing my own horn. I think I'm, specifically because I was a science teacher, I mean, I'm not your stereotypical science teacher. That is for sure. You know, most people think of a science teacher and they think of some kind of lab rat with sort of round spectacles on and a white coat. And that's not me. But this being said, I did get some great results. And a lot of the time, the kids that needed that guidance and they needed someone like me, they did really well. Irrespective, as soon as the parents and the teachers found out about that kind of stuff, they just saw it as a conflict of interest, and it didn't go down very well. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how forward-thinking these people say they are, they never really are. So at the end of the day, I had to decide: do I want to continue with my fitness, social media businesses, or do I want to be a teacher? And I've done 13 years as a teacher, and I had to call it a day. I didn't have to, but I chose to. One door closes, another one opens, as they say. All right, so I believe that is that. There'll probably be a couple more coming through on my DMs, but I'm just talked for long enough, and my red light's flashing on the camera there, so it's going to cut out. So, hope you've enjoyed. I'll always try and answer as many questions as you can. Please send them through any time that you can through YouTube, Instagram, whatever. And until next time, keep training. Take it easy.